I'm not allowed to share any good news because my sister is disabled. Story, I, 26F, have an older sister, 32F, who had a tragic accident 3 years ago that left her paralyzed from the waist down. It's been rough for everyone, but especially for her, of course. Our family rallied around her, helping out as much as we can, and I've been there every step of the way because I love her so much. But since the accident, it feels like I don't deserve to have any good things happen to me, or at least I'm not allowed to talk about them. Every time something positive happens in my life, I get shut down by my family. When I got a promotion at work last year, I was so happy and excited to tell them. I thought my family would be happy for me, but when I tried to share the news, my mom pulled me aside and told me to not now because my sister had a tough day. I ended up keeping it to myself. 8 months ago, my boyfriend proposed. When I told them, my mom immediately changed the subject later, telling me that my sister was feeling down about her own marriage struggles. It's like anything good in my life is an offense to my sister's situation. This happened a few days ago. I've been saving up for years to buy my first new car. I finally managed to do it, and I was so excited. I thought my family would be happy for me. So I decide to tell them. As soon as the words were out of my mouth, the room went dead silent. My mom whispered to me, "This isn't the time. Think about your sister." My sister looked so sad, and I instantly felt like the worst person in the world. I just couldn't handle it anymore, and I said, "Can I share anything good in my life? I thought you'd all be happy for me." No one knew what to say, and I left the house. I've never done that before. Now I'm filled with regret and confusion. I love my sister, and I never want to hurt her, but it feels like I'm not allowed to have anything good happen to me. It's getting to the point where I feel like I'm walking on eggshells all the time. I understand my sister's life has changed drastically, and I'm genuinely supportive and have always been there for her. But sometimes I just want to be able to share my own life too. I feel so guilty for even feeling this way, like I'm being selfish or inconsiderate. Her husband and even my parents share things about their lives freely, and no one seems to mind. But as the younger sister, I'm not allowed to share anything good in front of her so I don't hurt her feelings. I get it. I really do. I understand she's going through a lot, and I don't want to add to her pain. But it feels like I'm not allowed to have any joy in my life around my family. Now I know I owe my sister an apology for how I reacted. I never want to make her feel sad, but I'm struggling with how to approach my family. I don't feel like I should apologize to them. And honestly, I don't think I'll be sharing anything with them in the future. Response 1. NTA at all. But I'm curious, how does your sister feel about all this? Is she genuinely hurt whenever you share these positive things? Or is your mom just being overprotective and jumping the gun? Has there always been this kind of dynamic between you and your sister to a lesser extent before this? It just seems incredibly weird that you're the only person in your family who's not allowed to share good news. Reply 1. My sister never says anything. It's always my mom who jumps in to tell me off, followed by reasons why. My sister did look sad when I told them about my new car, but she didn't say anything. Whenever I tried to discuss things with my sister, my parents tell me to not, saying it might complicate things and I might end up hurting her feelings even more. Has there always been this kind of dynamic between you and your sister to a lesser extent before this? She's always been the confident one, saying whatever she wants whenever she feels like it. I've had to work on myself over the years to start expressing myself better. But things have gotten worse since the accident. Now I can't say anything. Reply 2. She might have looked sad because she's tired of your mother doing this. Either way, you're entitled to have a life and to celebrate when things go well. It doesn't sound like you're rubbing it in her face or anything like that. Not the a-hole. Reply 3. I'll be the cynic and just say, she also might have looked sad because she was playing her part. It's hella odd that only the little sister can't share her accomplishments in life. It makes me wonder, was Big Sis an overachiever or GC? The dynamic is off. If it were a blanket application, it would be more logical, albeit ridiculous. But since it only applies to OP, I'm inclined to think there is history here. Reply 4. Or if she can't drive anymore / again yet, it might be sadness / jealousy because of that and not just that something is going well. In any case, she has to deal with whatever negative reactions she has herself. Also, many paraplegics do drive, so please don't think I'm making that assumption. This is just another option. Reply 5. Yeah, mom is the issue here. Sister is probably tired of being in the role of the family pity party. She has a life. She has some joy. but being around someone that is stuck in pity mode has got to be miserable. Maybe have some serious sister talk about this. Mom is holding your sister back from recovery. Response 2, NTA, and you owe nobody an apology for living and celebrating the good things in your life. Info. Is it only your parents who don't want you sharing these things? Or is it also your sister? Is your sister even aware that your parents have asked you to silence yourself when good things happen? Hey, Mom and Dad always tell me not to let you know about anything good that happens to me, like my promotion at work, or when my boyfriend proposed, or when I got a new car, because these things might upset you. I wanted to ask you directly, though. Are you okay hearing about good things that happen to me? Or do you find them upsetting? If your sister says she doesn't mind, or indeed that she wants to hear these things about your life, then you should just 100% ignore your parents when they tell you to remain silent. If your sister agrees with your parents and says she doesn't want to hear about your successes, then you should honor that request. But you should also start spending way less time with your family. Reply 1. Finally, the voice of reason. Time for OP to talk directly to her sister. It sounds like her parents are overprotecting her sister and are keeping her from becoming independent. With therapy and adaptive equipment, she could have a very active and independent life. Perhaps the parents don't want that because then they won't be needed. OP is not the a-hole. She is the person who should receive an apology from her mother. Reply 2. Plenty of people who have physical and mental disabilities do want to be seen as people and not as broken or needing careful handling. OP's life and the achievements in it don't stop because her sister's life has changed, and the longer her sister is infantilized, the worse things will get between OP and her family. Reply 3. And if her sister is still so effed up mentally that she can't even hear good news from her own sister, then she needs to speak with a therapist, having been through some crap in my life. I don't expect people's lives to stop around me. Reply 4. Depending on the level of paralysis, this statement is pretty misleading. I'm a person with a severe disability, and she may not have a life that would be considered active or independent by any stretch. But even so, her sister should be able to have a life and accomplishments. I'm always extremely happy to hear good news from anyone that I love because my world is pretty dark and difficult. I want all of the good news I can get, and I take a lot of joy in my friends' successes. If hearing about a certain success that has been taken off the table for me is particularly painful, I will either congratulate them anyway, or grieve in private, or on a very rare occasion tell them that I'm so happy for them and I would love to hear all about it, but I'm having a really tough day and could they please ask to tell me all about it tomorrow? And then I listen tomorrow. I think a lot of people in this comment section are underplaying what has happened to the sister and overestimating the terms of her potential abilities and life options. People tend to infantilize us and minimize what we go through because they see these outlier cases that end up on TV or in inspirational TikToks. The truth of the matter is a lot worse than people usually recognize, but no matter what, OP is allowed to have a life. And the sister should want her to have a life. The family needs to butt out of this, and the sisters need to have a heart-to-heart about how to best share information. It could be that the sister doesn't even want this interference, but rarely speaks up for herself. It could be that she has asked for this interference. OP won't know until she asks. Either way, she's not the a-hole, allowed to live her life, and allowed to share those accomplishments with her family, who should be happy for her. Reply 5. And if sister doesn't want to hear, ask her how she wants you to proceed with your wedding. Should you not invite her? Or if you get pregnant, should you not see her the whole time you're pregnant? Should you not ever discuss your child? What about holidays? Would you need to exclude yourself and child from family gatherings? I mean, it's not sustainable. Response 3. NTA. Her husband and even my parents share things about their lives freely and no one seems to mind. But as the younger sister, I'm not allowed to share anything good. This isn't right. Be prepared for them to act hurt when you start leaving them out of things and they find out some other way. Reply 1. Yup, start shutting mom and dad down hard. I can't believe you would share that news. Think of poor sister. I'd bet that any sad look the sister gets when OP starts sharing her story, it's because her mom and dad act like she should be some pity trip or charity case. If everyone talked like I should be pitied, I'd probably look pretty sad too. Reply 2. Not sure why, but your comment is taking me back to when I was 10 years old at one of the only sleepovers I was ever allowed to go to. It was a family made up of mostly foster kids, plus their foster parents from the first church I ever went to. My sisters were there too. Anyway, I have a birth disability, and I'm also in a wheelchair, but I never let that bother me. Yet it seemed to bother the foster mother of these kids and made her feel sorry for me. I don't remember at all why she talked about me to the whole group at said sleepover, but my goodness. The woman reduced herself to tears, and it made me way uncomfortable. I also think OP's sister wants a break from the pity and actions of her mom. Reply 3. That sounds horrible. I'm sorry you had to deal with that woman. Some people just can't handle people thriving against adversity. It's like they want to mother you so hard that you just simply cannot take care of yourself. Trying to make sense of it, but either way, it's awful that they need to make a BFD out of everything. Reply 4. The fact that this isn't just some blanket rule applied to everyone is really not cool. If everyone wasn't allowed to talk about their accomplishments or whatever, that would be bad enough, but something about this rule only applying to OP feels weird as hell. Reply 5. Op should tell her family that they aren't invited to the wedding because it might make her sister sad. They expect help and support, but don't offer any in return. Not the a-hole in the slightest. Response 4. NTA. You have nothing to feel guilty for and owe nobody any apologies. Hopefully, if they have any sense of decency, what you said gave them something to think about. If so, long overdue, but better late than never. If the fact they've collectively been acting like AHs didn't click, then it's time for you to move on and share more of your life with people who care about you. Response 5. NTA. You do not need to apologize to your sister. You did not say anything about her unless you left her out. You just finally voiced your frustration about never being able to share anything good. Reply 1. This is a good point. I originally felt like it may be good for OP to apologize to their sister since the sister didn't really do anything. But neither did OP. What they said had nothing to do with their sister and everything to do with how their parents are approaching the situation with the sister. Response 6. NTA, you don't need to apologize for this. Not to your sister, not to the rest of your family. You didn't do anything wrong. It sounds like your family is forming some bad patterns right now, and it might be a good idea to stop that before it sets fully. You say you and your family are spending a lot of time at your sister's place to help out. That's admirable to some extent, but it's been 3 years. You don't need to all be there every day, especially if being there all together is giving your mom a chance to, well, pick on you. I'd spend less time with your family at your sister's house. Spend time with your sister, spend time with your family, but stop combining the two so much, and you can go ahead and shut your mom down when she starts up again. That's an odd way to say congratulations, Mom. Want to try again? Reply 1. Ugh, this mom would make me petty to the point of not sharing my wedding date with her for fear of ruining moods or the conception/birth of my first child because I didn't want to possibly hurt any feelings. =_=. Reply 2. You are my brand of petty and I am here for it. I would plan a destination wedding and not invite them so I didn't hurt any feelings by being at my wedding. Response 7. Why do you think you owe your sister an apology? You don't. It's sad that she is disabled, but you are entitled to your life, not the a-hole. Reply 1. Agreed. I hope OP is in therapy to have an unbiased third party help her process her emotions/happiness without experiencing guilt. Response 8. NTA, your sister is married with children, but you can't announce your proposal. Apologize to your sister if it makes you feel better, but you should also explain that your mother takes you aside every single time you announce something positive and tells you how it hurts your sister. It is entirely possible that your sister has no idea your mother is doing this. Your sister could be offended that your mother is treating her like a child. Reply 1. Yes, the fact that her announcing her engagement got shut down is what really shocks me. I get that the sister is going through grief and can see the, albeit twisted in this case, logic of trying to not rub Lil Sis's successes in her face, but an engagement is such a milestone that you want your family to celebrate with you. It should absolutely be a moment for the older sister to put her grief aside and be supportive and happy for her sister, even if she wasn't married and the accident was going to hinder her ability to do so. Yeah, maybe in that case, she would need to go cry later, or need private moral support from the mom in dealing with her grief. But this is little sis's moment, and she still needs her family too. In my opinion, this outburst was a long time in coming, and the mom is the one who needs to apologize. Response 9, NTA. I don't think you owe anyone an apology for expressing your frustrations. It didn't sound like you said or did anything horrible. I would be clear with your parents. Your sister may have been in an accident, but both their kids are still alive, so they should be focused on the positive. I'm sure all their constant negativity / lack of positivity isn't helping your sister have happy days either. You deserve to share your happiness, but let them know if they keep pushing you away and hurting your relationship with them, that there won't be one going forward. Response 10. Just gonna add my 2 cents as a disabled person with non-disabled siblings. I am happy for my siblings when good things happen in their lives. Period. Do I ever experience sadness because a lot of good and frankly necessary things in life are not accessible to me because of my disabilities / society's ableism? Absolutely. But my siblings are not the reason that I can't have nice things. It's bad luck and the crafty society, so I don't begrudge them their success or happiness. Reply 1. I wish this were top comment. It's so perfectly stated. I wish you weren't in this situation either, and that society did better in general. But I hope OP reads this and hears your perspective, as it's the most important one here. Her family is dishonoring both her and her sister with this habit of treating her sister as if she's so fragile that she won't be able to handle anything good happening to OP. That's infantilizing and unfair to both of them. I hope OP can come back and have an honest discussion with her parents about the situation and how it makes her feel, and point out to them that it's likely not even what the sister wants or needs. The parents are being terribly ableist by making the decision that OP can't ever share good news with her sister without even discussing it with her sister. Response 11, NTA. Your sister needs therapy, and also everyone in the family needs to stop being her voice. What does she think about things? Who speaks directly to her? Where is her voice in the whole thing? Reply 1, NTA. Thank you. You're the first person I've seen say that the sister needs therapy. That was my first thought. She's going through a huge life change. Anyone can use help adjusting to something this serious. The rest of the family's response to OP is not healthy either. Reply 2. The way they write about their sister is like sister no longer have voice. Like people treat the sister like less mental capital just because she can't walk. I've seen it before. Not in my country, but when friends over from other countries. That can't fathom that the brain isn't affected, just the spine. OP needs to talk directly to her sister instead of everyone else. Response 12. I get golden child vibes from this post. The part where OP states her family and her sister's husband can share, but not OP tells me there are different rules for different people. The fact that it's always the mom shutting OP down tells me that OP's sister is the favorite, and the life-changing accident made that unchangeable to her. Reply 1. I don't think this is a golden child situation. I think this is an overprotective mom in need of a reality check. Response 13. NTA, my younger brother became paraplegic several years ago. He has stated he never wanted any of us to treat him differently. It helped him find his new normal. This sounds more like your mom is having a difficult time coping more so than your sister. I would have a heart-to-heart with your sister and see how she feels about your mother's reaction. She could have difficulties because your mother is constantly reminding her about what happened. Sometimes with sibling relationships, it's just better to bypass your parents to actually get a feel of the real situation. Response 14, NTA. You said nothing to apologize for. I'd consider going low contact with family if possible. If they ask why, say, because I can never talk about anything good that happens in my life. You shouldn't be penalized for enjoying good things that happen to you. Maybe family therapy is in order. Response 15. NTA, sounds like you're becoming a glass child. I know you're an adult, but I don't know any other terms, and you're still your parents' child, so it's clear that your family's trying way too hard to protect your sister, and it's not fair on you. She should be able to be happy for you, even if she is upset about her own circumstances, because you are a human being and her sister, and you deserve to share your excitement with the people you care about. Response 16. My older sister struggled to have a child of her own for years. When I got pregnant, she did not react well when I told her. I miscarried 10 weeks later, and she was devastated. She felt like it was her fault for having such negative feelings. When I got pregnant again a year later, she was so happy and became the best aunt ever to my son, and then later to my daughter. Happy note, she did finally have her miracle son 8 years later, not the a-hole. Response 17. NTA, you do not owe your sister an apology. I'm sorry to say this, but at this point, it seems like she's milking it a bit to steal any attention away from you. Downvote me, IDC. Just stop sharing anything with your family. They keep letting you down and it won't ever change. Share your good news with people in your life that do care and want you to be happy and succeed. Response 18. NTA. How is not sharing joy doing her any good? Sucks she's disabled, but she can still have a life. Everyone around her not being happy won't help. Response 19. Lord, how are they going to handle the actual wedding or when you have kids? Will your mother be so strained with this that she won't even acknowledge your kids? You need to have a conversation with your sister first and then your family. You cannot stop your life because your sister's has been altered. Response 20. NTA. Don't even think about apologizing to your sister. You did nothing wrong. If she can't handle the fact that her attitude is why you feel that way, then tough.